give you a very quick bird's eye view of what is inside this video course. So video number one is obviously this video, and we're going to talk about what you need in order to get started. Video number two, we'll talk about social media platforms. So even though this might sound a little basic, a lot of people have created so many different social media accounts that some will be relevant and of course some will be irrelevant. Now, the only way that you're going to know is to understand which platform is for what reason. And it'll make more sense in just a minute. Now, once you have a better understanding of the different social media platforms, we can move on to video number three and talk about which platform is best for your niche. So you will realize in just a second that some social media platforms don't really make sense for your customers to go to, whereas some other ones will really be relevant to your prospects and are places that your prospects naturally will want to hang out. So you're going to want to focus on those social media platforms. So what we're trying to do here is to help you gauge where to best spend your time. So that way you don't waste time, you spend it on what is actually going to make you profits. So video number four, we'll take all that information and show you how to customize your game plan. Once you've customized it, then in video number five, we'll talk about how you can map it out. So what we're going to do in that video is to visualize by mapping it out so that you can see, okay, what you need to do in order to automate the process. So in order to figure out how to do automation, you need to have a map. So imagine trying to get to a destination without a map, without a GPS, and you're just told to go here. So you're probably going to spend more time trying to find that location, right? But if you have a map and the GPS device tells you exactly where to go and the shortest route to go and the fastest route to go, then that's going to save you time, right? So that's why we're going to go through this specific step-by-step process. And that's why we've laid it out in this way, to save you time, to save you money, and to help you profit. And of course, last but not least, once you have mapped it out, we're going to talk about automation apps. There are many different apps out there that will allow you to automate your social media presence. So for example, you could say something like, if you posted something like an image, content to Facebook, then you could create automation apps that would copy that information to your Twitter, to your Instagram, and to other social media platforms as well. So that way, instead of manually having to go from Facebook, copy and paste, log into Instagram, copy and paste, go into WordPress, copy and paste, you set everything up once and everything else after that point will be automated. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about free tools that are out there, and we'll talk about paid tools. And of course, video number 7, which is going to be the last video, we'll be talking about how to automate the whole process using one of the free apps that we discuss in video number 6. So this is absolutely free. You don't have to pay any money, and it's just as good of a quality compared to a lot of the paid apps out there. Now, there are different variations. There's little differences between them, which you'll see in just a minute in those videos. But for the most part, it can do the job really well. Okay, so let's talk about what you need. So we talked about that you need to figure out which social media platform your customers hang out the most. So we won't only just discuss different social media platforms, but we'll discuss how you can figure that out by analyzing your competition. So instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, you are simply figuring out from the standpoint of what is working for your competition already, who have most likely already paved the way. So you're based on that, you can figure out where your customers are hanging out. Make sense? Okay, so why? The purpose is so you don't waste time and you achieve the most conversions. And what is going to be, we're going to take all that information and your idea and map it out using a mind map chart. There are many different mind map softwares out there, but we recommend that you use lucidchart.com. It's one of the good options, and we will use that in this video course. So you'll get to have an idea of how that works. But last but not least, we have the how, which is this course. All right, so let's move on to video number 2. Hello and welcome back. This is video number 3, and in this specific video, we are going to figure out the platforms that are going to be best for your niche. So in other words, instead of trying to reinvent the wheel and trying to guess at which social media platform is going to be where your customers are, we are simply going to spy on your competition. The best way to approach this is by going to magazines.com and looking for the top magazines or the top companies that are printing the magazines in your niche. Now, bear in mind that some niches are extremely specific to the point that you might not find a magazine. So let's go to the search bar here and type in, let's say woodworking maybe. Woodworking. Let's see if they have any. So we have Woodworkers Journal. Fine woodworking. Okay, so let's take a look at the Woodworkers Journal. Now, bear in mind, I've never looked at this before, so I don't know what their social media presence looks like. So, Woodworkers Journal, and let's scroll down here. Sometimes if you go to the actual website, so let's do a search and see if we can find if they have a website. So it looks like this one here. So you can see off the bat that they already have YouTube. So Woodworkers Journal, they have YouTube here. They have Facebook. So sometimes you can simply go to Google and type in the name of the company, and you will find everything that you need to find. So if we go here, this is their actual website, and a lot of times, and the most of the time, you'll actually find the social media links on the website itself. So for example, here we see Facebook, Twitter, we see Pinterest. That's just an RSS feed. They have YouTube and they have Instagram. So step number 1, find the company in your niche. So if you're into woodworking and that happens to be your niche, then I would take a look at this company here. So we can see that they are using Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. They're not using LinkedIn, right? Because they are in the kind of DIY niche and somewhat of an artistic creative niche, they're using Pinterest, which makes sense. So we can see here that the types of images that they're using. So they have a lot of images here. They're using Twitter as well. And what you want to do right now is to look and see how engaging they are and the customers and the prospects that are following them, how interactive are they as well on that platform. So Twitter, a lot of times, especially for creative niches, you may not see a lot of comments. So this one you can see there's 2, there's 5 likes, there's 5 likes. So not a whole lot of engagement, but having a platform like this would be good. So if we were to take a look at, let's say YouTube, for example. So if we go here and we scroll down, we can see they have 165K subscribers. I'm going to just mute my computer here so we don't have to hear the audio. So if we take a look at one of these videos, and we'll just pause this video and scroll down. Remember, we're looking for engagement. So in this video, we see that this one has about 6 comments. And if we go back over here and maybe go under videos, and what I would do here is I would sort by the most popular, because I want to see how engaged people are. So we're going to click this here. And we can see that this one has about 8,200 likes, 530 dislikes. And it doesn't matter dislikes, we're just looking for engagement here. So we see a good amount of comments and engagement on YouTube. Whereas on Twitter, if you notice, there's not a lot of engagement at all. So that tells us in this case that we need to focus our attention on YouTube and focus our time on YouTube. But on the other hand, with Twitter, we can automate the process so that we just have, anytime we post something on YouTube, then we simply have it copied over to Twitter. So as I'm discovering things like this, I'm going to write that down. So, upload, we'll just say YouTube, highly engaged. Twitter, we'll just say auto post, not very engaged. So this tells us that we can post on Twitter, but we don't have to really worry about necessarily engaging as much on Twitter. So just a little bit of research here and there allows you to see what is actually working, if that makes sense. Okay, so that's Twitter. We saw that Pinterest, there was a lot of posts and everything like that. So they're definitely using Pinterest. Lots of images. And then in terms of Instagram, they have about 8,000 followers. So as you saw with YouTube, they had 162 subscribers. But with the Woodworkers Journal, they don't have as many followers. They have 8,000. But if we take a look at the likes and the comments, we can see this one has 525 likes, one comment. So this little bubble here means a comment, and this heart over here means a like. So if you just put your mouse over it to kind of get an idea of the engagement level. So even though people don't comment, as long as they like certain things, that tells me that there's a high engagement. So this one has 2,687. I have no idea why, but this obviously seems to be something that is resonating with people. So as you go through here, you can actually jot things down to get some ideas about what is actually working. So you can see that they posted certain things that are not getting as many likes, and that gives you a better idea of what you can actually focus on. So let's just write that down. Instagram. There's about a medium amount of engagement. So YouTube obviously is getting a lot more engagement, whereas Instagram is getting a little bit, but not a whole lot. Okay, so now we have Facebook here. So for this one, it says Facebook. We have 103,000 people that are following. Now, we would automatically assume that Facebook should get a high engagement, but we don't know until we take a look. So we can see that this post here was posted about a half a month ago, and it has about 4 comments. Now, if we scroll down further, they have videos, they have posts. Let's see here, 2 shares, 24 likes, 1 comment, 17 shares, 21 likes, and 2 comments. So what's surprising to me is this is showing me that Facebook actually has less engagement than Instagram. So Facebook is here, but it has less engagement. So if I were to sort this from high to low engagement, I would have YouTube first, Twitter would definitely be last. We didn't really look at Pinterest as much, but we got Instagram, Facebook, maybe Pinterest. Now, Pinterest, we assume because it's a DIY image site that it would have a higher engagement. And that's actually typical for a lot of the creative artistic niches. We have a lot of images on Pinterest and a lot of engagement, a lot of engagement on YouTube. Instagram is to be expected, but Facebook, I would have thought that there would be more engagement on there, but I was actually wrong. So this is why you can never assume anything. You have to do a little bit of research. So what I recommend that you do now is to simply do the same thing that I've done here and do some basic research and figure out what is actually working for different authorities in your niche. So that's what I would do, and that's how to do it. And as you can see, it's not complex at all, and you didn't have to use any paid tools as well. All right, so with that said, let's move on to the next video.